guys, we got another great video here on the Pawn Man channel. It's Between the Pawn. We got some great deals, some historical facts, some cool coins we're talking about, and later on we're gonna be doing Q&A. If you don't like or subscribe this channel, please do so. Throw your questions in the comment section below so I can answer them on the next Between the Pawn. But with that, let's get into it. I'm heading back to China soon. Okay, yeah, you got some gold here.
All right. And I don't want to be gross, but there's some filling.
Teeth? Yeah. No, it's my lunch. Not gross. I deal with it all the time.
Okay.
All right, let's take a look. Okay. 14.
And the best parts.
Trust me, I've seen
really
gross stuff, yeah. Don't bother me. If anything, these are pretty clean. $860.
Okay. What's the best you can do? 860?
I'll make it 875 because it's your first time here.
So no 9? Do it 9.
Okay, fine. Realized I'm covered in cat hair. My mom took great care of my cat, but did not brush her, and she had the worst knots, and I had to sit with her last night and brush her out. As far as this goes, I'll do pretty well. Probably make about $300-400 on this deal. I mean, the guy kind of seemed like he didn't really care. I don't think this is real.
Huh?
No, you didn't get this at a gas station, did you?
No.
Okay, because there's a scam going around. People have this kind of stuff. I'm like 99% sure this isn't real. Let me just do one thing quick. At least I didn't get scammed. I talk to people that got mega scammed on this stuff. That is fake.
Huh.
Like I said, at least I didn't get scammed.
I don't know what this is.
Let's check her out here. I don't think this is anything. It's just plated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for coming by. Well, at least that guy didn't get scammed. I knew right away, 18 karat, super shiny, definitely fake. This is a reminder, if you've never tuned in to me, you've never seen this before, there's a scam, very well-known scam. Somebody will approach you at a gas station, at a casino, at a grocery store, and they have a nice car. Usually it's a German make, like a BMW, an Audi. They're very well dressed. Sometimes they have a family with them. It's a whole family affair scam. And they say, I'm super rich, but my God, I'm out of money. I need gas money. I'm so rich that all this gold jewelry I have, well, this doesn't matter to me because I'm so rich. My loss is your gain. Here, give me all the money in your wallet. I'll give you this gold that's worth so much more because I'm just so desperate for help. What rich person doesn't have a credit card? So watch out for that scam. And if you see that scam, call the police. Write down the license plate, report them because it's somebody that's going around person to person like a parasite. Well, I got some interesting updates from our dear president, and I have been predicting this for years. Everybody who listened to me, you're in a really good spot. President Trump, over the weekend, declared that the penny is no more. He has directed the U.S. Mint to stop making pennies because, pun intended, and this is true, it doesn't make sense. Pennies cost more to produce than they are worth. Nobody uses them anymore. They're very obsolete. It's costing the government money to continue to make them. Now, I think they will still make them in collector proofs. I suspect because the mint does make money on that, they'll continue doing that. They'll probably change up the designs quite a lot to be more commemorative. But the simple fact is, I have been predicting for years that the penny was gonna go the way of the dinosaur. And when that happens, you're gonna see a surge in collector prices on pennies. You could get very high grade pennies, MS66 red or higher, from the 1930s and 40s for cheap, like under $20. And I have been putting away pennies for years. I have hundreds of them. So now that the penny has been declared, shall we say extinct, or it looks like it's gonna be going that way, I think we're going to see a surge in collector prices. And if you haven't gotten any yet, I would strongly recommend start buying some. If you're going to be buying modern pennies, buy NGC PCGS red proof 70s or red MS 70s. Top score. You don't want 69s because with the modern stuff, they make so much of it. You want the creme de la creme, the highest grade you can get. If you're gonna be getting stuff earlier than the 1960s, like if we're talking the wheat pennies, I would be getting at least MS66 plus red, probably MS67 plus. Ones in the 50s are cheaper because they're mass produced. The earlier back they go, the more expensive they get. If you can swing it, I'll say buy a 1909 SVDB. It'll be very expensive, but that's gonna be one of the most sought after pennies. I think we're gonna see all pennies start to rise in value because of this. And I mean, if you're gonna be getting the good pennies, you're going to want the most collectible ones. Another one includes the 1955 double die error. 1914D is another date. We talk about pennies quite a lot here, but I really think this is a great time to be buying some if you haven't, because with the announcement of the penny being discontinued, I really think we're going to see prices go up on them. Oh, we got some good guys here. Scottsdale 10 ounces? Yeah. 3026 times 50. 1,513.
Any negotiating?
I can do 1,515 because you asked.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Quick and easy. I didn't test them, but I like that. You don't need to test them. Probably get about 34 an ounce, 1,700. I'll make about $200 off that deal. What can you do? Except keep making money. So right before I went to China, I did a house call. I did not film it. Guy had a massive coin collection. I found this in one of his safes. And I was like, oh, cool, I've heard about these. He goes, oh, you want it? Have it. This is a Saddam Hussein playing card set. Or I should say, this is an Iraq top enemies playing card set from the second Iraq war. Let's talk about what this is exactly. And I'm not gonna open this. I'm gonna keep it in its original wrapping just because it's a nice collectible. It's not for sale. I don't sell gifts, as I'm sure many of you know. But I remember this war very well. In fact, I remember being home in early March of 2003 watching the invasion on TV. And my dad was home. He goes, you see that, son? That's what democracy looks like. You know, just... And I'm like, but wait, so Iraq did 9/11? And my dad's like, son, that's not the point. We're bringing them democracy. And the war was, it was quite a war. If you served in the war, thank you for your service. I'm not making fun of that. Just going through that time period and, what the United States turned into as a direct result of those actions is interesting. So when I look at something like this, I think back to that, having lived through it and seen how things changed. So these get a nod from World War II. During World War II, decks of cards like these were issued to soldiers to identify enemy aircraft, enemy vehicles, enemy weapons. And this was also a psychological tactic too. These were issued to American soldiers so they know who the targets were, and they wanted the people on these cards to know that they were being hunted with decks of cards. So we have Saddam Hussein, the head of the regime, is the ace of spades. His sons Uday and Qusay are also aces who are absolute monsters. An interesting fact, they were killed in July 2005 after a gun battle with US soldiers. The celebratory gunfire, when Iraqis found out that the two of them were dead, the Iraqis shooting their guns off in celebrations is estimated to have killed at least 20 people from falling bullets. Morbid fact. But basically it's all the top members of the regime, how wanted they were, coordinated to their card, what they were as a card. This was also a boost for US soldiers' morale because it kind of gamified the idea of hunt them down. We got to get them. It made a game out of war, which is what you want to do for your soldiers to motivate them. Also, it was an easy way to spread intelligence. This, not every soldier, but many soldiers had these. It was easy to make sure that everybody was in the know about who they were looking for. The heart suit consisted of Saddam's inner circle and family. The diamonds were top government officials. The clubs were Iraqi military leadership. And the spades were Ba'ath Party leaders, secret police, and intelligence figures. The deck featured 55 individuals. Pretty much all of them were captured and killed. And now it's a piece of pop culture history. It's a piece of militaria. It's a collectible item. Original decks can be hundreds of dollars. Otherwise, you can get secondhand decks, open ones, beat up ones for $10-15. Like I said, I'm going to keep this in its original wrapping. I don't know if this is original, and to be honest, I am so busy, I don't have time to find out, but I am going to keep this forever. So, oh my god, this is so stupid. So we got this review while I was in China. I looked at that and I thought, Confederate? No, we don't have any. Oh, you idiot. What Ann is talking about here is this, the female writing dear note. Now, we've talked about this before. The female writing dear note, and the irony here, this person's upset because they think I'm selling Confederate items, and at a glance, it has the word Confederate on it, and it does look racist because it's got some racist caricatures on it. But what this moron doesn't know, or didn't even bother asking a simple question, which my staff would have been happy to educate her, the irony here is that note is partly responsible for destroying the Confederacy. It destroyed the Confederate economy. It's a counterfeit note made by an individual, S.C. Upham, in Pennsylvania at the start of the war. He made them as novelty items, and he did such a good job with them, people were going to the South and spending them. And it got so out of control, the Confederacy put a bounty on this guy's head. It's estimated that upwards of 5% of Confederate currency notes were counterfeits. It just totally undermined and screwed up their economy, which is a reason why they lost the Civil War. So this person, they came into my store while I was gone. They obviously didn't speak to anybody. They just glanced at that, and then they decided to take it into their own hands to go woke me and try and write a bad review, canceling me, when the irony is That currency note canceled the Confederacy, what this woman is so mad about. You can't make this level of stupid up, and it just drives me nuts when I see this kind of thing. When I'm trying to sit here and take time to educate people and teach people stuff, and some idiot just walks in here and decides to be passive-aggressive and not ask any questions and wants to ding my business. God, it's so ironic with what she was mad about. Don't be a person like Anne. Always ask a question, take time, and consider before you go dinging some small business, am I making a good choice here? Or am I just hurting a business that literally has an item that brought down the Confederacy? God. Ugh, you can't make this stupid up.
To the cat. Oh, she's so pretty. She's a shop tour today. She came to work. She's being very meowy. Would you like some treats? Would you like some treats? Yes, you would.
All right, teddy treats. You want those teddy treats? Because I'm not going to see her for a couple months. I did miss my cat quite a lot, so I'm getting all the time I can in with her when I'm back in the U.S. Although my mom's taking pretty good care of her, minus giving her string cheese. I called my parents to tell them in a video that I got invited to the gala, and the first thing my parents go, Evan, the dog started on fire. How? It got into a candle. The dog just went up like a torch. The dog's fine, but yeah, my parents started their dog on fire. I'm currently emailing all the major news outlets here in the US. I found it puzzling that nobody in the US reported on what I was doing. And the Chinese outlets, the major media outlets, they all reached out to like Star Tribune, KSTP, WCCO, Fox 9, like all the major Minnesota outlets. Didn't even get a reply. So they were like, the journalists, they were like really puzzled, like, what? We don't know like why they're not reporting on you. I don't need it for bragging's sake. I need it because this is important what I'm doing, and people in the US need to know what I am doing for this bridge I'm trying to build to work. Because right now it's nobody in the US knows what I'm doing, and it took me by a lot of surprise when I came back here and I made a TikTok. Like the TikTok got a lot of views, but everyone, you know, all these Americans are like, why have I never heard of this? And indeed, it's quite puzzling. So I'm really hoping somebody reports on me here so that people understand in the US what I am doing. It is important to understand. What's going on, you guys? We're Between the Pond. I'm Evan, and I am back from China. Quite a lot to talk about. I will fill you guys in on the trip, and then we'll get to questions. First off, if you have questions for Between the Pond, please post them in the comment section so that I can answer them on the next Between the Pond video. I'm gonna try to film 3 Between the Ponds and 3 episodes of Pond Man and 1 or 2 pond hubs before I go. As far as this channel goes, it's gonna be, going forward, a blend of my travels through China, and then of course the Pond Man content. We'll talk about the trip and how things are changing for me. But before we get into that, I do have a couple of quick announcements since I've been gone. The first one, the con artist passed away. So he will not be returning. And as much fun as we had with the guy, he was a good customer of mine, and he will be missed. In his obituary, it said he was known for wheeling and dealing. He was a hustler, and I read that. I was like, God, that's too on the nose. But in any event, he will be missed. Rest in peace. I'm not going to say his name. I still want to protect his privacy. Second announcement: I am avidly pursuing World War II items from the Pacific Theater. If you have something, anything outside of a gun, please let me know. I'm happy to give you credit if you want to be known for being the person that supplied the item. But I have a lot of museums that are now actively looking for this stuff, and I'd like to get this stuff into museums. It doesn't belong in a private collection. Even if it's something you might think is insignificant, it's a window into history. It's important. I'm particularly looking for more of those World War II photo albums. There's more of them out there. So reach out to me, let me know. And yeah, let's get some stuff into museums. Third thing I want to say, when I am gone, you guys, the store remains open. The business did take a pretty big hit while I was gone. I'm kind of restructuring how we do things. If you want to join the Bullion Club, precious metal prices are continuing to rise. Go to my website, pawnmanstore.com. We do have the best prices on the internet. Free shipping on all items over $50. So if you get 2 ounces of silver, free shipping. We don't dick you around like the big box stores do. There's no hidden fees. And you guys, please don't hold off on doing deals because you need to do it with me. My team is every bit as capable as I am, if not in some regards a little bit more capable of doing deals. Come to my store, even when I'm gone. We'll give you the best prices in town. We are also actively looking for remote deals. We haven't had one of those in a while. And if you live in Minnesota, we're happy to do, or at least if it's close-ish, we're happy to do house calls. So if you got too much stuff, we can make a house call too. But we're St. Louis Park Gold and Silver. We're open 11 to 6 Monday to Friday, 12 to 3 on Saturday, and we're closed on Sunday. So with that, let's talk about the trip. I'll give you guys kind of the quick rundown on how things went. Obviously pretty well. This is China's biggest newspaper. Or magazine. It's one of their biggest, and I was on the cover. There's a whole giant spread about me, talking about my mission, talking about what happened to make me so well known in China. I'm having a great time, and on this page, we're gonna be doing more traveling videos in China because I'll be heading back in a few weeks for another 2-3 months, and I'm gonna just keep doing this. Also follow me on TikTok at Evan Kale Official. It's my new TikTok for my China stuff. As for the trip itself, like I said, I had a great time. I went to 7 different cities. I arrived in Beijing. From the moment I walked out of baggage claim, like my life forever has changed. I may or may not have gotten a book deal, so you may be able to read about everything that happened soon. Everywhere I went, people recognizing me, walking up, taking pictures with me, thanking me, showing me the most incredible kindness. There's a lot going on. I have several major projects I'm working on in China. For the moment, I can't share what they are, but you guys are gonna be blown away by what I'm putting together for this year. So I arrived in Beijing. Well, the first thing I did was go to the flag raising ceremony because I thought it was a way to pay respect to the Chinese people. So I first was in Beijing. I went to the Great Wall. I got a private helicopter tour over the Great Wall, which was terrifying and awesome. The first words I screamed were, "Oh my God, I didn't die!" when I jumped out. So I went to the Great Wall, I went to the Forbidden City, I went to the Temple of Heaven, I tried bean soup, I tried a bunch of other really interesting cuisines. I met 2 social media influencers who were super cool. This guy named Raz, he's Israeli. This other guy, I think Lao Wang is his Chinese name. He's from Iraq. He's the nicest guy. So I made some great friends, and then we took the bullet train, so awesome, to Tianjin. I spent about 2 weeks in Tianjin, but after Tianjin, I went to Shanghai. We went to Hangzhou after that. I met another influencer. You guys probably know him as Brother Coins. Also super nice guy. I've gotten very friendly with him too. So I spent a few days in Hangzhou. Probably my favorite city because of how pretty it was. After Hangzhou, we went to Nanjing, which was really sad and difficult for me because I basically was the pallbearer at a funeral for 300,000 people. Look, if you want to understand geopolitics of the region, go to the Memorial Hall for the victims of the massacre in Nanjing and just see the history for yourself. And I'm going to be in Nanjing, I think, every December 13th for the rest of my life to be paying my respects. What I don't want to do is make people angry about World War II all over again. And as I've said in so many interviews, it's about moving forward with hope, not looking back in the past with a grudge. That is my number one message, is not to repeat the mistakes of the past. We went back to Tianjin after that, and then we went up to Harbin, which is in North China, and boy, was it cold. I went there to help promote the 2025 Asian Games. Harbin was a cool city though. If you're into snow or into winter sports, that's definitely the city for you. So after Harbin, we went back to Tianjin. I'm based in Tianjin because my whole team lives there. It's kind of my base of operations. We went down to Wuhan for a couple days, and Wuhan I also really enjoyed too. It was quite a bit warmer. After Wuhan, we basically bounced between Tianjin and Beijing, and that was in part, I got invited to the Spring Gala, which was a huge honor. I'm apparently, some people said I was the first Westerner ever invited, other people said I was the third. But in any event, it was an incredible honor to be invited, but the preparation for it was pretty intense. There's a lot of rehearsals, but we were bouncing between Tianjin and Beijing quite a lot. And again, back to the bullet trains. My God, the infrastructure in China is so good. And every time I got on this bullet train, I couldn't help but get irritated. Like, why don't we have this in America? So the distance from Beijing to Tianjin is about the distance from where my parents live to me. It takes about 2 hours by car. You can get from Beijing to Tianjin in like half an hour on the bullet train. It's just incredible. So lots of preparation for the gala, and then obviously the gala happened. I think it was a perfect way to cap off the trip because I left the next day. So that's my trip in a nutshell. There's obviously quite a lot I'm skimming over. I just wanted to, kind of quick give a lowdown. If you're curious about the trip, you can go watch my travels through China, all the videos. So what does this look like for me going forward? Well, simply put, this is too important of a role for me to just kind of do a one and done. This is gonna be what my future looks like going forward, is I'm gonna be in China for 1 to 3 months, and then I'll be back here for 4 to 6 weeks, and I'm gonna just keep doing this because this really matters. This is important. I have a lot that I'm working on. I have a lot that I'm building. There's a lot more announcements to come, but this is just an incredible honor that has been thrust upon me, and I can't begin to stress enough what a lovely country it is. I can't recommend going enough. Travel is one of the best things you can do. I urge you to go and check it out for yourself and report back to me, what did you think? Because really, don't judge a book by its cover. You never know until you go somewhere. Traveling is such a good experience. So with that, you guys, let's get into the questions. I got a few questions here. All right, so first question coming in from Julio Cesar. Julio says, what was your favorite interview you had while in China? It actually hasn't come out yet. I chatted with Phoenix TV. They have a special program called Conversations with World Leaders. And I'm saying it with a smile because the journalist that I spoke to before the interview started, she said, you know, Evan, I have to say, this is a first. You are the first person that I've spoken with on this program that is not a literal president or a head of state. So I was like, wow, what an honor. The interview I had with her was probably 45 minutes. It hasn't come out yet. I think it'll be out soon, so look for that. But that was definitely my favorite interview. All right, question 2 coming in from Jay. Jay says, what is your favorite item in your shop or personal collection? This is a replica, by the way. This is not the real one. The real one is in a secret, safe, secure location, because obviously it's by far the most valuable thing that I own. It's not about the money, but it's definitely my favorite item that I own. Otherwise, I have a bomber's watch from World War II with the sterling clasp, or like the sterling bracelet with the pilot's name on it. It's worth about $500. It's in my collection. It's not for sale. I bought it about a year ago. It still works. It's a really cool watch. But I would say that's probably my other favorite piece that I own. Question! Oh, hang on. Breaking news, everyone. Tickle Monster Gal's plane was shot down over the Sea of Japan. It spun in. There were no survivors. I think for obvious reasons, we know why I can't, Anyway, so this person here, Tickle Monster Gal, who has never asked a question ever, asks, what is the worst decision you've made since opening your shop? I've made some bad hires, and I've lost quite a lot of money. When I hire people now, I interview them with my whole team, and I have a consultant who's a very close friend of mine, who sits in on it too, and you know, helps me make the call. So yeah, just hiring the wrong people. All right, next question coming in from Arist988. What's your preferred way of storing government bullion coins? I started collecting bullion from your subscription service. Thank you. pawnmanstore.com if you want to join the subscription service. Cancel anytime. And I'm not sure how to store it. Well, when you're buying bullion, it doesn't really matter. The only thing that you don't want to get it wet, because that can affect the price. It can corrode. I mean, silver is silver. Even if it's nasty, it's still an ounce of silver or gold or what have you. But I would say put it in a plastic flip or just leave it in a tube and keep it someplace where it's not going to get damp or wet. So put it in a plastic bag. Other than that, it doesn't really matter that much. All right, next question coming in from Evan Hacker. And by the way, people said Evan's also big on Chinese social media. He reached out to me because he kind of looks like me, and he's like, dude, can you post something just so people know that I'm not you? Everybody thinks I'm you. Are you currently learning Chinese? If so, how? Hit me up if you need a language partner. 我的汉语不好. My Mandarin is terrible. I've been trying to learn. It's really hard. This is a stupid excuse, but it does apply. After the age of 25, studies show that your brain has a really hard time learning a new language, and technology is so good. Like, I have 2 translation devices, and I have a translator. So between the tech and the translator, I did not practice nearly as much Mandarin as I was hoping to. I used a lot of English, but I'm going to keep working at it. And, you know, hopefully in like a year or 2, I'm a lot better than I am now. And then the last question coming in from Alberto says, favorite part of the trip and the least favorite. How good or bad now that Trump is in office would China's trade with the U.S. be affected, especially in the precious metals market? Well, as far as Trump goes, you know, who knows? You know, because sometimes he'll say one thing and the next day he changes his mind. Only time will tell with that. I really, really hope that this trade stuff gets worked out and we don't have a trade war. As far as what is my favorite part of the trip? Well, there's a few aspects. One is the new friendships that I've forged, particularly with my team. My favorite city was Hangzhou. I had such a good time. It's such a pretty city. There's so many beautiful historical sites, and just the scenery there is breathtaking. So I'd say going to Hangzhou was my favorite part. My least favorite part, I could have done without getting sick. And the guy that got me sick, it was when I flew from Tianjin to Shanghai. The guy next to me on the plane was sick, and I was like, oh, I know this guy is gonna get, sure enough. But, you know, I got over it, and I got to experience China's healthcare, which was kind of eye-opening. Obviously, I had a great trip, if that's all really that was wrong. All right, well, that will do it for this Between the Pawn. Once again, if you have questions, post them in the comment section so I can answer them on the next Between the Pawn. But follow this page if you're not already subscribed here for Pawn Man videos, for my travels throughout China. And I just, again, you guys, I can't appreciate and thank you guys enough for all your support and your kindness. And it's just incredible that my life has so much meaning. It really touches my heart, and I can't believe what's happening in my life. So thank you guys. We'll see you back here for another great video. Later.